ABCD! Go.
Hello!
Hello, happy campers. Spike.
Chris.
Show, and yes, the show is Geeking Out, and we're actually getting one out. We've only missed a week.
Yeah.
It's been a long 2 weeks. Boy, something happened last Sunday. People have talked more about the Oscars in the last week than they have the Oscars the last decade.
I don't know what you're talking about. What have you heard?
The pimp slap heard around the world. Will Smith pimp slapping Chris Rock. All I know is Chris Rock is now getting about $600 a ticket for his concerts as a result of that, and Will Smith still has to go home to Jada Pinkett. So that shows who won that one. But anyway, so this is going to be a news-ish episode. We did both get to see Moon Knight, the first episode. I kind of want to see Morbius, but just because everybody's talking so much smack about it. But on the other hand, I'd have to watch a Morbius movie to do that, and oh my goodness, that's... But anyway, so we have Moon Knight to talk about. You've got news-ish stuff to talk about, and of course, dope slaps. But we're going to try to make this a quicker episode, so we're only going to take like 3 hours instead of 4 on this one.
Okay, so then we should get started, right?
Well,
try to move through the news first, or do you want?
Well, let's kick off. Let's talk about Moon Knight first. The first episode of Moon Knight hit Disney Plus this past Wednesday. And Chris is nodding his head because nodding your head always registers so well in an audio podcast. But...
I'm sorry, I forget. Yes.
Okay, Chris. As usual, you begin the review of the first episode of Moon Knight, and I'll tell you how you're wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically I can't tell you the plot of the story because I have no idea what's going on. Apparently, what is his name?
Hold
Dimmer himself.
How soon we forget.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see. He's actually a character from Werewolf by Night back in 1975. His name is Steve something rather. Stephen Grant. Okay. A gift shop employee who's possessed by the spirit of Mark Grant. No, not Mark Grant. Shoot. Well, I don't keep up with this very well. Mark Spector. I knew there was a meaning to it. Mark Spector is a mercenary who is... His spirit is used by the Egyptian god of retribution or justice or something, and runs around and basically kicks everybody's butt dressed like a giant white moth. But anyway.
Sounds cool to me.
So, what'd you think of the first episode there, Chris?
The first episode was honestly so good. I loved it. I thought the action was good. I thought it was really good for a starter out. You know, it really kept me interested. I am excited for it. I think also where it gives off this, where I'm a huge Batman fan, it kind of gives off like this Batman vibe, you know?
Well, we've talked about Moon Knight before, and I said it's basically Marvel's answer to Batman, but a little more mystical and goofy almost. But...
So I loved it though.
It's different. It's one of those things. Wow, I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now for all the good that does. Moon Knight right now is getting an 87% from critics and 94% from audiences. So that's a really encouraging sign, especially from Disney and all the troubles they've had with Phase 4 of their Marvel Cinematic Universe. But this one is... The first episode's fun. Okay, if you haven't seen it yet, the whole conceit is that Stephen Grant is a gift shop employee at an Egyptian museum. And when he goes to sleep, he makes sure that he's tethered to his bed. He puts tape on his door to make sure he knows if he leaves and stuff. Every morning he wakes up and the tether's attached, the tape's still on the door. all the little sand that he puts around the bed, so he would leave footprints if he walks out sleepwalking or anything. It's all still in place, the sand smooth and everything, but he's still exhausted. And he starts blanking out in the middle of the day, and then when he wakes up, he's like 5,000 miles away. He's in the middle of a huge firefight. And then he blacks out again, and suddenly he's driving a cupcake truck down the streets of Austria or something. And then he blacks out again, and suddenly he's driving that truck backwards, and he's got a gun in his hand, and there's a dead assassin hanging off the front of this thing, and all this other stuff.
Sounds cool, right?
It does take a little while to get started, because Stephen Grant, they have to establish him as kind of a loser, because, hey, he works at a gift shop. Sorry if there's any gift shop employees out there, but you're kind of low on the totem pole if you're working.
Well, especially if you have a Karen over you.
Yes.
And that's the only thing that I hated about this show, which I really hope she gets her comeuppance, is because she was annoying. She was so annoying.
But you also had Ethan Hawke showing up as the arch enemy here, or at least the first enemy of Moon Knight in this show. So it's gonna be fun to see this. Like I said, 87% from the critics, 94% from the audience. Chris, I'm going to really reserve judgment until I see the whole thing, because we've been
yes,
Mandalorian before, we've been Boba Fetted before, I guess we should say, where it's really bad, really bad, really bad, and then it gets really good, and then it's really bad again. So episode 2 could take a hard left turn into the sewage pipe, but
yeah, I mean, especially with the track record of the TV shows based off of the Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel does not have luck with TV shows.
Like, I mean, for instance, Loki. Loki is one of everybody's favorite when it comes to the movies, but the TV show I was really disappointed in, because it was so less the way he is. So it kind of just threw me down. But yeah, this one looks promising, so I'm on board.
Now, something else that came out this weekend is Morbius, and I've said I kind of want to see Morbius because all the critics were talking smack about it, but then I'd have to go watch a Morbius movie, and that involves having to look at Jared Leto for 2 hours, and who needs that in their lives, right?
True.
Okay, Rotten Tomatoes again. Now, the thing about Rotten Tomatoes, you can't trust the numbers really that well, because Rotten Tomatoes has a long history of actually sabotaging the numbers there's two numbers, the critics' numbers, which are the professional critics, and then there's the audience number, which is where the audience weighs in on what they think of the movie. The higher the percentage, the better it is. The lower the percentage, the worse it is. Morbius is showing at 17% for the critics and 70% for the audiences. So, usually what happens if I see that is that it's probably a really good movie, and for some reason the critics just have it in for it. That's what usually happens if you see a low critic score and a high audience score. It's a populist movie. It's something people want to see. Now, 70% is kind of low for a really good film, but the audience score tends to be a little more honest about it most of the time.
From the people that I follow who has already seen the movie, they all came out saying it's okay. There's lack of story. There's special effects are horrible, like 90s. But they all came out kind of just saying, this is, if you liked Venom, then you'll probably like this one. So I guess they have like the same vibe. I don't know.
Yeah. I think what's gonna happen is that you kind of have to wait a week to see what happens with Morbius, because I think the film made like $17 million its opening night, but I haven't seen what kind of ticket sales it's had since then. Although I can find out real quick. Let's take a quick look and see what is going on out there. A Sinister Six movie, how Morbius sets up the future of Sony's Spider-Man universe. I really don't give a rat's patoot about a Sinister Six movie, but projected for a $38 million plus projected opening. That is not bad for basically what is a third, yeah, I would say a third tier Spider-Man supporting character. He's not first tier like J. Jonah Jameson or the Green Goblin or anything like that. And he's not second tier either, which would be more along the lines of like Sandman or Electro or somebody like that. He would be third. He'd be one of those people who'd be like, that's from Spider-Man? Why? But, so that's $38 million for an opening weekend. Isn't bad. It's probably not going to make its, probably not exactly going to make its budget back anytime soon.
It's not going to reach what they probably hoped for, because this was just the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then next weekend, Sonic comes out.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that's going to overpower that way by a lot, honestly. So, yeah.
So, mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's some new Fantastic Beasts coming out, and Universal's doing a thing called Ambulance, which ought to be hilarious. But anyway, so that takes care of what's happening this weekend in pop culture. So, as for Moon Knight, first episode, the Geekin Out scale of 1 to 5, 1 being forget about it, and 5 being you gotta see it. Is it worth the Disney Plus subscription, Christopher?
Well, just going by the first episode, I would say definitely a 5.
So you give it a 5. Yeah, I'd give it a 4. I'd say it'd be worth getting the free trial for, but I don't know if I would actually pay. I'd have to wait to see week 2 and decide whether it would be worth watching that second.
I mean, I got to say, I think that whoever's in charge of it is definitely doing their kind of own thing, because just by the first episode alone, you can definitely tell they didn't do this on Hollywood, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They did this in another country.
I'm sorry they did it at Pinewood Studios in England, but that's where they did all the James Bond stuff. But
that's possible.
Odds are. That's the biggest movie studio in Britain. But anyway, actually we'd probably need to come up with a separate little 5-point system for the streaming services, with 5 being like you should go ahead and pay for a subscription so you can see each episode when it comes out. 4 is wait till they all come out so you can see it all at once and cancel your subscription. 3 would be the free trial, just so you can see it and see if it was worth looking at. And then 2, no, you'd wait until it shows up on another channel, and 1 I wouldn't even bother with. So we need to start codifying these rating scales and stuff, so I don't have to sit here and keep trying to remember what these things are. Anywho. Alright, so that takes care of the reviews, because not last week, 2 weeks ago, we did reviews. It took us almost an hour to get through them. So now we're 15 minutes. Let's hit the news stuff. Let's see what you got to deal with. Bruce Willis.
Well, let's go ahead with Will Smith, and then we'll hit Bruce Willis.
Let's go to Will Smith.
Because Bruce Willis is kind of a sad story.
I guess.
Will Smith, yes, the epic slap. I guess we should call it, right?
Yeah, if you could call it that, I guess. But
so, anyways, in case you guys have been under a rock for the last week and haven't even been on social media, period, or talked to anybody, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock as he made a G.I. Jane joke, which was just such a really bad joke.
It was a corny joke.
For an old movie that half of people probably have never even seen, because she's bald. What you don't know is probably that she suffers from a disease where it causes hair loss.
Yeah, it's called alopecia.
Because of all this, Will Smith has came out with an apology, but has been suspended from all pretty much, I think, every award show. And yeah, like, yeah.
To be honest, Will Smith. Okay, here's what I say about Will Smith. Let's go ahead and go on the record, okay? I don't care about Will Smith. I haven't cared about Will Smith since Independence Day, to be honest. Well, no, I take that back. Since Men in Black 2. And Men in Black 2 was part of the reason why I don't care about Will Smith. Anyway, Will Smith is married to Jada Pinkett, and she's talking about an open relationship. Look, if the only open marriage is called divorce, okay, that's what an open marriage is. She's been, let's face it, she's been having sex with other young rappers and stuff that are roughly half her age or less. And Will Smith is a cuckold, and look it up, and he's, and now she's raising their two little kids that they have together as to be gender fluid. In other words, Jada Pinkett is a nut, and Will needs to get himself and the kids as far away from her as possible. Get those kids into psychiatric counseling, get all that stupid gender fluidity out of their heads, and straighten them up and straighten you up your own life, and keep her as far the heck away from you as you can. What Will should have done is right after the Oscars and he did the apology and stuff, he should have been on the phone to a divorce lawyer, the best one in Hollywood, and said, "Get me out of here." As a matter of fact, I would actually take the kids and I would go to the other end of the state, northeastern California. Don't leave state lines because they'll use that against you. But get to the other side of the state, just to put as much real estate between you and Jada Pinkett as you can. But that's what I got. That's all I got to say. So everybody just keep praying for Will that he'll, not that he spouts a pair of popos, but that he'll actually wise up and get himself and his innocent kids out of that situation. So, there you go. All right, that's what I got to say. Chris, what you got to say?
Just keep on slapping, I guess.
Well, that's completely the wrong answer, but anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I think to be honest, I have seen memes on this constantly all week on everything.
It has been a good meme source.
And people has talked about it. I actually get bored of it already. Like, I'm just like, ah. But I do remember, like, watching it on television and going like, message, like, did you see the slap? So yeah.
We'll have one last word. I'm doing a quick search here to see what. Getting ready to take a look around and see how much Chris Rock tickets are going for. We'll do this as a last. Just to go. He's got tickets for a Chris Rock concert. We're recording this on April 3rd, 2022. A concert at Indio, California, coming up this Friday at 9 p.m. are at up to $1,213 a ticket. And understand, this is not exactly close to the stage either. If you want front row center seat, $1,700 a ticket. So, who do you think came out ahead here, Chris?
Chris.
Yes,
Nobody hates Chris.
Everybody hates Will. So
yes,
everybody loves Chris. This one. Anyway, so go ahead, Chris. What else we got on the newsy stuff? Newsy type stuff.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Has announced his retirement after being diagnosed with aphasia. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Aphasia, I think.
Aphasia. Yeah. That affects his ability to speak and think.
Mm-hmm. Well, there had been a story that came out before this, that apparently he was having trouble remembering lines at movie shoots and stuff. So he was actually having to sit there and have the script like just off camera where you can see it. So, he as somebody who does have trouble with his memory, yes, I sympathize with Bruce Willis. He's had a pretty nice run though. 35 years
Yes.
as one of the top guys in Hollywood. Hey,
Yes.
hey, that's a good run as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I wish the best for him because he's not a bad actor. I mean, there's been
No,
times that he's just like,
he's not a thespian. He's not going to do Shakespeare, but he's one of those guys. He's like Humphrey Bogart or Clint Eastwood. He's a character that people love to see.
Yeah.
So they want to go see the films he's in.
Exactly.
They want to see him go be Bruce Willis. So, and there is nothing wrong with that. Bruce Willis made a very, very good living at it. He made a very good run. And like I said, we'll put him on the prayer list and hope for healing for him, and maybe we'll see him a little further down the road. So what else we got on the news stuff?
On the news stuff, Halo star Pablo Shabar,
Yeah. Whoever that is, yeah.
He had a meeting with MCU to possibly be the new Wolverine.
Who is he in Halo?
He plays Master Chief, I believe. Which already made, like...
Chris, can I see that card for a minute?
No, there's other stuff written on here.
Give me that damn card. Every other story on that card is suspect because of this. Here, hold on, let me do this for the...
No!
There.
No!
I so don't care. I'm done with Wolverine. I'm done with Halo. I haven't even seen an episode of this. I don't want to see an episode of this. The first episode of Halo popped up on Pluto TV to try to entice people into seeing it. I saw it was on the screen, and I actually threw up in my mouth a little bit. It was just in the program guide.
It wasn't that. Okay, just... Jeez.
I do understand that none of the writers or directors or anything actually played Halo, so at least that's what I'm hearing.
No.
That would explain a lot. But anyway.
Morbius, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Thor Love and Thunder
Yeah.
has been pushed back because of reshoots. Uh-oh.
They need to just shoot it in the head. This is... Jane Foster is going to be the new female Thor. This is what Phase 4 is ultimately leading to. Take every character you have and make it female. Give it the boob flip and then move on with your life. And then Phase 5 is going to be having to erase all the damage that was done in Phase 4.
No, Disney, don't redo everything. Maybe they'll take all their live action stuff and turn it into anime.
Yeah. All right, what else you got?
Oh no, him again. Jared Leto is excited to be in Tron 3. Remember Tron?
They're actually going to make Tron 3? I know they keep threatening to do that, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, apparently they're doing it because he says that he's excited that he's been working on it. So, apparently the Tron 3 is on the way.
God. Okay.
This is kind of interesting. Amazon has purchased MGM for $8.5 billion.
Yeah, that'll pretty much end MGM, yeah. Now, look, the Washington... Amazon, well, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, he owns the Washington Post. That wasn't even worth wrapping fish in before he bought it. Now it actively poisons fish that you wrap in it. So MGM was a big fat nothing burger leading into this. Hasn't been for years. The only thing they got going for them is their TV division. That's because they have like, Charge and Comet, where they can actually... Charge is where they can dip into their action library, and Comet's where they can dip into their sci-fi library and stuff. So they've been doing pretty good. They've been doing pretty good with those. You can stream those online for free. But so they've done a decent job of exploiting their library. MGM hasn't put out anything good in ages, so We'll see if Amazon well, actually, I doubt Amazon will really put that much more money into it because their little retail sales online on the website are the prices are creeping way up because they're tired of losing money on retail.
Huh.
And I've said before on this show that the reason Amazon was able to lose all that money is because it was subsidized because they do all the web hosting. Well, after this past year, after what they did to Parler, which was supposed to be the Twitter competitor, Amazon was going to be the web server people for Parler, and then they decided, no, we won't, and they shut them off, and then went around and tried to convince nobody else to give Parler any rack space so they could go online. So now, guess what? A bunch, and nobody's saying this, but I guarantee this is happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of online businesses right now that are quietly trying to migrate away from Amazon because if they did that to Parler before they even said a word online, if the fix was in that early, what happens if Amazon decides they want to go into direct competition with these guys and just shut them completely offline and make them scramble to find another provider? It took Parler the better part of a month to get back online after Amazon kicked them off. So
Wow.
you cannot trust Amazon Web Services anymore, which means Amazon Web Services, I'm sure their sales are suffering right now. I don't have any proof of this. I'm just saying this is the way it usually works. Their little woke selves shot themselves in the foot, and now they're going to have to make up that revenue somehow, and so they're not subsidizing the retail sales anymore.
Hmm.
So there you go.
Damn.
And don't forget, Amazon also owns Whole Foods, which there's a reason its nickname is Whole Paycheck. So Amazon's getting a little greedier by the day, and suddenly they want that money sticking around for a while. They're not going to be spending any money on MGM productions, that's for sure. They might do it to see if they could get a hold of the James Bond franchise, but what else is left at MGM right now? I mean, you've got that. You don't even have the actual good MGM classics for the most part. That all belongs to Warner Brothers now,
Oh.
and has been for years since Ted Turner bought MGM and took all the movie library away for his TV shows or his TV stations. Do I have to sit down and give you a history lesson on these movie studios sometime?
I mean,
We probably need to sit down and do that. Just spend a half hour talking about the history of Hollywood studios. But this is a rather ignominious end to MGM, to be
the
honest.
thing is, I don't know much about Amazon, and I don't know much about MGM. Of course, like you said, MGM only has James Bond stuff, so it's like I really don't
Anymore,
care.
yeah.
So never really found them interesting now. But
What else you got in the news pile before we close this up? Because right now we're looking like we're going to wrap up around the 30-minute mark. I ain't going to complain.
yeah, we don't got much.
Oh, thin week. Go ahead.
So apparently there is a Marilyn Monroe movie that will be coming out called Blondie, but this is getting an NC-17 rating. Now the last NC-17 rating that I think has ever came out movie-wise was Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick, I think.
And his name had enough cachet he could get away with it.
And
It's okay. All right, that's what I thought. Go ahead. Are you wrapped or?
what was that? What?
Okay, it's getting an NC-17 rating. Okay.
Yes.
This movie is going to be on Netflix.
Yes.
Netflix actually has zero problem with NC-17 because they're not releasing theatrically. They stream in the home.
Yeah.
And the reason they submitted it for a movie rating is, well, you do it for one of two reasons. One, you're hoping to get it distributed into movie theaters so you can make a little scratch on it before you put it on the streaming side, which is what Warner does. Or two, you're hoping to generate some publicity for this movie that not many people are paying attention to because the last Marilyn Monroe fans are like either 200 years old in body or 200 years old in spirit. So there are very precious few people who still give a rat's patoot about Marilyn Monroe. So they're hoping by making it a smut film, then people will think, hey, we'll get to see Marilyn Monroe's boobs or something. Yeah, it's this strikes me as an act of desperation. Maybe the movie's good. Maybe this is just all. There's no such thing as bad publicity. If you don't think there's any such thing as bad publicity, go talk to Will Smith and let him promote your Marilyn Monroe movie. Okay, maybe he can slap a digitally enhanced CGI Uncanny Valley copy of Marilyn Monroe out of whatever her great was on Hollywood Boulevard. Anyway,
NC-17 doesn't even mean what it actually means nowadays. I mean, you can turn on any TV show or movie and there's a pair of boobs.
mm-hmm.
Like Stanley Kubrick, like it was just basically there was no sex involved. It was just a bunch of naked people,
Yes.
men and women, showing everything.
Yes.
Which is why it got an NC-17 rating.
Yes. Because
So-
they saw it as softcore porn. Yes.
Yeah, so it's that's pretty much what I'm thinking. That's what's going on here. I just think I think it's just been a very long time since, like, the only movie that I've never seen, but I heard a lot of women talk about this book, was 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I'm like, shouldn't that be an NC-17? Because that's all about sex.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's about
there's
the
a difference
content.
between just nudity and actual sexual content. So, like, I don't know. But, I mean, that's just my opinion, I guess.
Here's the director, Andrew Dominic, talking about this NC-17. This is coming from the Sun, so the Sun UK newspaper, so take this with a grain of salt. It's a demanding movie. If the audience doesn't like it, that's the effing audience's problem. It's not running for public office. It's an NC-17 movie about Marilyn Monroe. It's kind of what you want, right? I want to go and see the NC-17 version of the Marilyn Monroe story. In other words, you go out on the street corner for two reasons, for hookers or for blow. And preferably you want both of them.
Oh.
That's what this guy, Andrew Dominic, is saying.
Wow.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the street corner. Right?
Wow.
So there you go.
That's
All right. So what else you got?
Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins passed away at 50.
Oh. I'm amazed at how many people I'm outliving.
I'm
a little disturbed,
that one,
too.
That one was like, wow, okay.
I guess the
like,
Foo won.
Like,
Okay, honestly, I don't care enough about the Foo Fighters to know who this guy is, but for his survivors, I'll say a little prayer and do a cross and move on with my life. I'm not broken up over this. Go ahead.
As far as we know, nobody has came across trying to figure out, like, nobody has said exactly the cause of death. Just that he apparently it was like probably something to do with his heart.
Most likely, because
Unless
it doesn't
something came out,
it does not necessarily have to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex, drugs, or rock and roll. Even though he was in a, I guess you could call Foo Fighters a rock band. But
the also sad part is that they just came out with a horror comedy where they are I guess they're playing themselves. Like, that is trouble trying to find a new song, so they go to this house in the middle of nowhere that apparently possesses the lead singer, and kind of just goes on this killing spree. But it's I don't know.
so it's a family film.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a family
Gotcha.
film.
Roger that. Anything else?
Yes, last news of the day.
Yay! Everybody, let's hear it a long round of applause for the last news item of the day.
Actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt will be playing Johnny Carson in a biopic. Now, I think this is actually awesome news because one, it's Johnny Carson, and second, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is an awesome actor. Uh, he's one of those that he's very classy. For a young age, he's very classy. He can actually he can get on stage and sing Bing Crosby music, for crying out loud. He's just a classy guy.
Hmm.
What are you looking up?
I'm just looking. Go ahead.
Oh.
I care so little that I'm distracting myself. I do like Johnny Carson. Who was playing him? That shows how much attention I was paying.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay, I thought for a minute I was supposed to care about this, but no. Man.
What?
Anyway.
I think Joseph is a great actor. He's been in a lot of good movies. Just never gets the leading role or gets the credit that he really deserves.
If you say so. But, yeah. Anyway.
What is happening?
Oh, somehow, some way, somehow or another, I got a hold, before we wrap, of the Talking Jesus doll. I actually saw this online, and it's a guy. He's a father, and he decided that with all the other toys out there that don't preach very good morality and are kind of unhealthy and preach unhealthy messages and stuff, he wanted a plush doll of Jesus that would teach some of Jesus's sayings in the Bible. So he created what's called the Talking Jesus doll, and I'm giving it a little plump here to try to, or a little plug here to get it going. You can find it on Facebook at Talking Jesus doll, and basically it says 1 of 10 phrases. So I'm going to sit here because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this thing, because it's like $40, but I wanted to support this guy because I think he's sincere about it. And quite frankly, to help encourage more wholesome toys development and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here. It's still in the cellophane wrapper, and I'm going to play a statement from Jesus as we close things out. So Chris, you got any last words before we wrap this?
No.
You don't have nothing. Okay. So until next time, Will, for goodness sake, get away from there. The rest of you, hang tight. We'll see you next time here on Geekin Out. And until next time, remember,
with God, all things are possible.
Exactly.
Sounds like Tom Hanks.
See, still geeking out. Ta y'all.